No question that not just Donald Trump, but the whole news cycle has been very good for business. I think if we were talking 2 years ago, I think we'd be saying that the surge was very closely focused on the election and on the Washington cycle. What we're seeing now is much more broadly based. We're seeing lots of different kind of stories moving the dial. Investigations, our Me Too coverage, now, I guess,
the
a year ago.
Me Too coverage, the Facebook coverage has been really quite brilliant.
Tech and more broadly, our business coverage, we think, has got stronger and stronger. We've got more investigative teams. We're breaking more stories across a really wide front. And by the way, features, lifestyle, culture, that breadth of what the Times does, it's all beginning to work for us. And, you know, when I think about what we're doing, it's not totally unlike what Netflix is trying to do, like a big package of very high quality content, which is what, if you're thinking of subscribing, you want to make sure as a consumer you're going to get really good value and a real breadth of content.
Sure, but one thing that's happened over the last decade or two is that all of those pieces have been spun out on their own. So classified ads gave rise to Craigslist, and you've seen what's happened with almost, if you go through every section of the traditional newspaper, how they've turned into standalone brands, even Realtor.com, which helps News Corp quite a bit, as you're aware. So, does that mean that there's still a place for people to come to the traditional newspaper for what it has to offer, or do you have to have a foot in each of those new digital places?
Well, firstly, look at the numbers. We've got probably 3 times as many subscribers as we did 5 years, or certainly very, very, very close to that. So our model is working. Though what's interesting is I think those sections which were once really driven by print advertising, they got spun off and are in many cases done better separately on the internet. We are looking, and as you know, we've got 2 very successful digital products, Cooking and Crosswords, both of which take offers, propositions which are deep historical propositions from the Times and turn them into different pieces of service journalism products which people can use in a different way. But even within the master product, the main New York Times digital product, people are finding lots of different kinds of content they really like. And the fact that we're driving our subscriptions is because people get very engaged, and we know that one of the reasons they engage with us is because of the breadth of the content they see.
265,000 new digital subscribers in the latest quarter. Yeah. Does that mean that they are subscribing only digitally, or does that combine people who are taking both at the same time?
We define print subscribers. All of our print subscribers get digital rights as well. They're counted separately. So these guys are people...
Well, I'm glad I'm counted separately because I'm a print subscriber. Okay, good. Now, let me ask you another thing. Of the people who are solely subscribing digitally, what is their profile, both in terms of demography and geography, as compared to the people who subscribe to the print edition?
I want to say, in the broadest sense, that their average age is a bit younger. I mean, actually, significantly, as you would think. And the geographical spread is much broader. I mean, the most obvious point to make is the domestic physical New York Times. We have an international paper. The domestic physical New York Times, you can't get it in the rest of the world. Mid-teens percent and rising all the time of these subscribers live, on the other continents, the other countries. So that we've got a global subscribing audience as well. Even in America, the geographical spread is much broader. The single best market for digital subscriptions in New York Times is California.
Is that right? Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Now, so tell me about the subscription growth. You said it has quadrupled over the, what did you say, the past 10 years? In total? I think from 1.2 million to 4 million or something like that?
We're getting close to tripling. I mean, at the very peak of print, early 90s, New York Times probably had about 1.7, 1.8 million subscribers. Total subscribers today, we announced at the end of last year, 4.3 million. So we have a much bigger paying base than the New York Times has had in its history. And frankly, we think we're building a bigger digital subscription business than any news organization in the world at the moment. And we announced today that by 2025, we want to get through the 10 million mark.
Are those digital subscriptions, as you're talking about getting to the 10 million mark, do those include people who just want the cooking or just want the crosswords?
Yeah, I mean, we're saying it's a total number of, as it were, subscription relationships. That could be print, it could be cooking, it could be crosswords. We think a lot of the growth is going to come from the digital New York Times, the core, the kind of master news and opinion brand. But and we, by the way, we think of 10 million as a milestone too. The numbers suggest we can aspire to a significantly bigger number than 10 million.